Caribbean Week, March 27th to March 31st, and discover the perfect opportunity to obtain a second passport. Live in paradise, enjoy a tropical climate, benefit from tax breaks, and also real estate opportunities. With visa-free travel to over 140 countries, Caribbean Citizenship is the key to exploring the world. Our team of experts will provide you with personalized advice and a free assessment to help you make the right decision. Get the most up-to-date information on citizenship by investment programs through our social media channels, from exclusive interviews with experts to immersive articles and videos. We'll keep you fully informed throughout the Caribbean Week. Mark your calendars now from March 27th to March 31st and discover why the Caribbean Citizenship by Investment programs are the perfect choice for those who want to live life to the fullest.
Hi there, welcome to Global Lives. Today is Wednesday, and we are right in the middle of our Global Citizen Solutions Caribbean Week. We are live every day at 6 p.m. GMT, exploring different aspects of citizenship by investment programs in the Caribbean. Joe Rice is with us again to help explain all things Caribbean. Thanks for joining us, Joe. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Nice.
Good to be here again.
Good. So yesterday we talked about the most affordable programs of CBIs. And on Monday, we discussed the fastest way to get a Caribbean passport. If you want to watch these lives, they are available on our social media, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So what is today's topic, Joe?
Well, today or tonight, we'll talk about the opportunities for real estate investors in the Caribbean countries and how you can buy a property and get a second passport for the whole family.
Great. But before we dive in, let me explain again how our Global Lives work in case it's your first time here. I will be asking Joe some questions about the citizenship programs in the Caribbean, and then we will open the floor to your questions during the Q&A session. Again, you can join us live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And don't forget to like this video to help us spread the word. So, the first thing I'd like to ask you, Joe, is why is it a good idea to invest in Caribbean real estate?
Well, so the Caribbean, as everyone knows, is famous for tourism. And all the countries in the region have stunning beaches, rainforests, mountain regions, clear, warm blue waters, which are great for diving. You name it. So it's just natural that a large part of their GDP is based on tourism.
Okay.
So if you're a real estate investor and you're planning on getting a second passport from the Caribbean, it makes sense to invest in tourist accommodation.
Of course. And a few Caribbean islands hold some impressive titles. Did you know that for 14 years in a row, St. Lucia was named the world's leading honeymoon destination at the World Travel Awards?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good.
And not only the leading honeymoon destination, but also last year, the island received the title of Adventure Tourism Destination.
That's great.
Yep. St. Lucia offers a plethora of forests, beaches, volcanic springs, and of course, impressive resorts. Mm-hmm. Also worth noting that the tourism in St. Lucia is responsible for 65% of the GDP.
That's quite a lot.
And the industry is recovering well from the pandemic years, getting close to its previous figures of 1.3 million visitors per year, which was recorded in 2019.
Okay, that's good. And I think it's important to highlight that St. Lucia has excellent connections worldwide with direct flights to London, Toronto, and several cities in the USA, including Miami, New York, Chicago, Boston, and more that I can't think on the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Also, the prices of properties there are lower than in neighboring countries such as Barbados, for example. Mm-hmm. And another good point is that St. Lucia has recently reduced their CBI minimum investment from $300,000 to $200,000, but that's only until the end of June 2023.
Okay, so that's great news for investors. Yeah. So you've got to hurry. So if you want to become a citizen of St. Lucia, right, you have to invest $200,000 in real estate and you get your passport. Just in case someone is watching our lives for the first time, the way citizenship by investment programs in the Caribbean work is that you make an investment starting at $100,000 or $200,000, depending on what type of investment you choose. And then in a few months, you get your passport and you can include your family in the application, right?
Yep, that's correct. I also want to highlight that during this live, I'll be presenting a wealth of information. complete with numerical data. If you find the volume of the information overwhelming, please don't hesitate to reach out to me via email. I'll be more than happy to provide you with an additional information you might require.
Great, good to know.
So let's move on. We have mentioned St. Lucia, but there is also Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, and St. Kitts and Nevis.
Right.
In any of these countries, the minimum investment in real estate is $200,000 in shares of property developments that have been previously approved by the government.
I see.
In St. Lucia, for example, you can buy shares of resorts in the southeast of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the case of St. Kitts and Nevis, it's also possible to buy private homes as long as they are pre-approved.
Okay.
In this case, the minimum investment is $400,000. You can also buy the property jointly with another investor, but each one must invest $400,000 or more. So, for example, you can buy a villa worth $800,000 together with another investor.
Okay, I see. And what is the case of Dominica?
Well, firstly, Dominica is known as the nature island of the Caribbean, a former British colony boasting stunning and well-preserved nature. But please don't confuse it with the Dominican Republic, which does happen, yes. Dominica has a population of around 71,000 people. In Dominica, you can also invest a minimum of $200,000 in government-approved real estate developments, such as luxury resorts and condominiums.
Okay, right. So now let's move on to the real estate option in Grenada. Could you give us a lowdown on this route?
Sure. There are two options that you can consider if you're opting for the Grenada Citizenship by Investment real estate option.
Okay.
So, option one, for a single applicant, an independent investment into real estate in a government-approved project at a minimum value of $350,000 needs to be made.
Okay.
Option two, for joint investments into a pre-approved Grenada tourism accommodation sector, a minimum donation value of $220,000 is needed per investor for a total of investment of up to $440,000.
Okay.
So the condition of the investment into real estate is the investment must be held for at least 5 years if the buyer wishes to acquire citizenship.
Okay, right. So, and finally, what are the costs involved in real estate investment in Antigua and Barbuda?
Okay, so Antigua and Barbuda is, first of all, an amazing country. They also have a real estate option where the applicant can buy a freestanding home and earn rental income from it.
Okay.
That's if they're not planning to relocate. This gives them a money-back guarantee from their investment, and they can also sell the property after 5 years.
Okay. Now that we cover the costs and an introduction of the real estate routes of each island, shall we talk about reselling? Once you buy the property, when is it possible to resell it?
Well, it depends, but usually between 3 to 5 years. In St. Kitts and Nevis, the private homes can be resold after 5 years, and the shares of property developments can be resold after 7 years.
Okay.
In Dominica, you can resell them after 3 years, but if the buyer is also an applicant for the Citizenship by Investment program, this period increases to 5 years.
All right. Okay, and then are there other costs investors should factor in, like taxes or fees? And then again, if you're going to give us a lot of information, numerical information, as you said, don't freak out. You can have it all emailed to you by Joe. So you just need to drop us a line.
Yeah. Okay, so here comes the information.
All right.
Well, in the Caribbean, if you buy a property as a foreigner, you have to pay an alien tax that costs around 10% of the price of the property. Okay. But if you apply for citizenship by investment, there's no need to pay this because you're buying property as a citizen, not as a foreigner.
All right. Okay.
So one less cost, but there are program costs, as you can imagine. So the biggest one after the investment itself is the government fee. So they vary from country to country, and they usually depend on how many family members are included in the application. In St. Kitts and Nevis, the fee is $25,000 for a single applicant and around $60,000 for a family of 4, depending on the age of the dependents. In St. Lucia, the fees are similar. In Grenada, the fee for a family of 4 is $50,000.
Okay. Okay.
However, in Dominica, the fee for 4 people is $35,000, and in Antigua, it's $30,000. So you can see there is some variations. Finally, there are due diligence fees. They vary a little as well from country to country, but in general, they're $7,500 for the main applicant and $4,000 for any additional family member over 16 years old. It's also worth mentioning that these are what we call program costs. So the costs you pay directly to the CBI unit of the country you're applying for. It doesn't include, for example, bank fees, translation and certification of documents, lawyers, and other services. But of course, the program costs are the bulk of the investment you'll be making.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Right. So, Joe, thank you very much for this comprehensive explanation. And if you are interested in finding out more about the other investment options for Caribbean citizenship, you can watch our previous lives or go on our website. But let me just say, you can make a donation to a government fund starting at $100,000. And in some countries, you can purchase government bonds or establish an enterprise. Is that right, Joe?
Yep, good summary.
Okay, good, fine. So I don't need you here anymore. I can run the lives on my own. Okay, so now shall we open the Q&A? I've got some questions here. Hang on. So the first one is, can I apply for the CBI program and choose the property later?
Well, no, because that would slow the process.
You always say no.
I do. The best way is to choose your property from the ones available right at the beginning.
Okay.
So then we get in contact with them and arrange the details of the investment. At the same time, we're preparing the application. Why is that?
Why?
Well, because when we submit the application, everything will be ready.
Okay.
Once the CBI unit approves your application, all you have to do is transfer the funds to pay for the property and send proof of the payment to the unit. They will then send your citizenship certificate and process your passport right away. That's how we managed to get the citizenship process finished in just a few months.
Right, okay, that's clear. Right, let's jump to our next question. Are there any restrictions to use the property for my own accommodation on holidays? And then can I live there?
Well, it depends on the property. If you buy a private home or what they might call a boutique property in Grenada, then you can use it for holidays, rent it out, or live there. That's if you're planning to relocate to the Caribbean.
Okay.
If you buy shares in a real estate development, then most of them will have an arrangement in which you can stay for free for 1 week or so a year in one of the units of the property. And you'll also receive a percentage of the rent income referring to the other 51 weeks of the year.
Okay, I see. Right, so I think that one is clear. Let's go for the next one. I think it's not a simple answer for this one, Joe. Is the donation route a better option than the real estate one?
It depends on the individual again, as most of these cases do. But, the $100,000 investment route is what we call the donation route.
Okay.
So instead of buying property, you make a non-refundable contribution to a government fund run by the country. Their donations are used for whatever projects the country needs, such as building hospitals or improving resilience against extreme weather. As I mentioned, the minimum donation depends on the number of families that are included in the application.
Okay.
So for a single person, this donation is $100,000 in Dominica, St. Lucia, and Antigua and Barbuda. In St. Kitts and Nevis, it's $125,000, and in Grenada, it's $150,000. There's a little bit more to that, but we can, get in contact and we can go over it.
Yeah.
More figures.
Okay, more figures, of course. No. Let's do one more question here. Oh, an interesting one. Are these countries in the hurricane belt? What do you think?
Well, I understand that hurricanes are obviously a concern if you're buying a property in the Caribbean. Most of the real estate that is approved for CBI programs is built having weather resilience in mind. And amongst the 5 countries, Grenada is the one that's least prone to hurricanes, which is obviously, something to keep in mind also.
Yeah, I think that's good. Let's see here if we have anything else very quickly. No. Okay, and then I think that's it. I know, no more figures. Thank God. There were lots. But again, we can always share, Joe can always share this information with you. But now we've reached the time limit. and there's no more time for questions. But this live will be published on our YouTube channel shortly, so you can make a comment, you can write your questions in the comment section. I also would like to highlight that tomorrow Joe and I are back here again, and we will talk about CBIs for large families. Correct?
Correct. Yep.
And what else? And if you like the idea of becoming a citizen by investments in the Caribbean, visit our website, globalcitizensolutions.com, to find out more, or even better, get in contact with us. You can book a half an hour chat with Joe. Thank you, Joe, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. See you tomorrow. And discover the perfect opportunity to obtain a second passport. Live in paradise, enjoy a tropical climate, benefit from tax breaks, and also real estate opportunities. With visa-free travel to over 140 countries, Caribbean Citizenship is the key to exploring the world. Our team of experts will provide you with personalized advice and a free assessment to help you make the right decision. Get the most up-to-date information on citizenship by investment programs through our social media channels, from exclusive interviews with experts to immersive articles and videos. We'll keep you fully informed throughout the Caribbean week. Mark your calendars now from March 27th to March 31st and discover why the Caribbean Citizenship by Investment programs are the perfect choice for those who want to live life to the fullest.